Check it.
I am a child of God.
I'm kinda under Wakanda, I kind of the hunger for freedom delivering. I used to carry the memories of sin on my back, size of a pyramid. I guess the message is clear.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUL for life. We are IUL.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, we couldn't use minimal force at the Rukora funeral, says Ndetunga. Vaccine rollout commences. PETA Foundation extends primary health care to Moses Garrep residents. COVID-19 positive mothers advised to continue breastfeeding, says Nutrition and Food Security Alliance of Namibia. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and Weather. Now for the news in detail. The Namibian Police Force Inspector General Sebastian Ndetunga is upset that mourners at the funeral of the late Paramount Chief Vekwi Rukoro violated COVID-19 regulations. According to local reports, there were between 1,000 and 2,000 mourners in attendance. The Inspector General confirmed that they could not use the least amount of force to disperse the crowd because it was mostly made up of elderly people. Leston Voller has this report.
Was overboard because the number of people that converged there were well above the allowed number of mourners who were supposed to be there.
Nampol Inspector General Sebastian Ndetunga said that the mourners ignored the warnings from the police to not overcrowd, but their words landed on deaf ears.
Our call was not heard. They did not heed to the call. They continued in different groups, exercising their rituals as if it was in a normal situation. We could not use the minimum force to disperse them. Looking at the environment, we could have used tear gas, we could have used rubber bullets, but we thought twice before we acted. As a majority of those people were there, they were so elderly. Most of them they were elderly. And we tried to convince them, the police who were on the ground. We tried to convince them to leave because in the cordon, the shrine was cordoned off. Those who were in were fewer, but the majority, the crowd was outside, a bit distant from the shrine, because the shrine was cordoned off, and those who were in were fewer. But it was unacceptable for community to come in big number, violating the regulations.
Nampol Major General Joseph Shikongo added that the problem began when it was decided to keep the body of the late Paramount Chief for 30 days before burying, which was also a violation of the COVID-19 regulations.
30 days before the burial. That should be the starting point. It's a defiance. These people, they defied the protocol on COVID-19 by keeping the body for 30 days. And that must be the starting point. Why they were allowed to keep the body that died from COVID-19 for 30 days. And as General said, most of people were elder people. When I arrived there, I find people are converging in various groups. You find a group of 20 there, you find a group of 30, you find a group of 40. But when the video probably were taken, were just at the entrance behind the Pullman motor garage. That's where the majority of people were converging. And as General said, it was going to be more worse if we would have used the tear gas. I think the repercussion by now could be even more worse. I think the law enforcement will prevent it a lot, politically and also security-wise. So I think the picture of today could be more different, because when you look to these people, they were looking really for confrontation, and it is what they wanted.
Nampol is currently investigating the incident and will find out who was responsible for the funeral proceedings.
Who among the organizers can be held responsible? And we are still busy with that. They should account for that irresponsible act, defying the health protocols that are there, setting a dangerous precedent, ignoring the rules and the regulatory mechanism put down by government, deliberately probably inviting people to the shrine in a big number. It's a violation of our laws.
Daitunga further advised the public to not use this incident to do the same, as it will endanger the lives of loved ones.
New Nivea Black and White Deo protects me and my favorite outfit. That's why I feel confident and free. With 5 times Deo Action formula, I stay fresh and protected for 48 hours, and my clothes stay stain-free. Try SA's #1 anti-stain Deo.
The COVID-19 immunization program received 250,000 doses of Sinopharm, which arrived in the country on Friday. Over 40,000 doses of AstraZeneca are still expected to arrive in the country later this week.
It is estimated that over 133,000 Namibians have received their first dose of either Sinopharm or AstraZeneca, while close to 33,000 are fully vaccinated. The 250,000 Sinopharm doses were distributed to the various vaccination points and are currently available to those who wish to get vaccinated.
From here, we're just going to pack the medicines into our stores and then also repack them for distribution to the regions. So we're hoping that we'll be able to have the vaccination sites running so that the people can start being vaccinated again. So, yes, let us all go to the vaccination points and get vaccinated. It's because there has been a vaccination break, and we can tell that the people were already demoralized, but then we worked very hard to bring the vaccines in. So we want to urge everybody to go to the vaccination points and get vaccinated.
To reduce long queues at existing vaccination points, the Health Ministry added additional sites to improve access, says Nakamela.
All the vaccination centers that has been running, that has been active doing vaccination, they will be reactivated again. And there are actually more. There's a list, like in all towns. We have expanded a little bit because now we'll realize that there are long queues. So there will be more vaccination points, but the list will be out there for the public to check through, but it will be released. But it will probably also be announced on the electronic media, radio, also perhaps in print. But we'll make sure that everybody in the country have access to this information so that we can all go to access the vaccination points and get vaccinated.
Namibia has also procured 333,333 doses of Johnson & Johnson from the African Union platform, and these doses are expected to be available as of next month.
This is my favorite gear, because it speaks for me and all my brothers. Nivea Men Black and White Deo. With 5 times Deo action to protect you and your favorite gear from stains. Try Nivea's #1 anti-stain deodorant. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Founded by Dr. Twahafifwa Nambua, the Petwa Foundation this weekend took to the Moses Garup constituency to provide free primary health care to the constituency's marginalized residents who are unable to reach state hospitals for checkups. The foundation's first outreach was also sponsored with wheelchairs and walking aids for those living with disabilities and medications such as antibiotics, painkillers and immune boosters. Samantha Poppy has more.
Dr. Nambua, who has been in the medical profession for 5 years now, notes that the foundation's first medical outreach team on Saturday was made up of 6 qualified and registered doctors, 3 third-year medical students, 3 nurses, 2 social workers, and 3 receptionists, all volunteering mainly to provide general health assessments to Moses Garup residents, adding that with the current focus on the COVID-19 pandemic, many other health illnesses have been put on the back burner.
So we founded Petwa Foundation last year, got registered this year, and it's just an initiative that was established to help people that cannot actually reach the hospital. You know, like we do have a few hospitals here, but there's always need for more. There's always room for more to be done. The main aim was actually to reach out to the informal settlements and the marginalized communities of Namibia. But because of COVID, we couldn't really go there yet. So we then thought of what can we do for now here in Windhoek, because we are on lockdown. So then we eventually decided to come to the informal settlements, and we ended up here at Hatahana Community Hall. We have a pap smear screening station, primary health screening, and the doctors are just going to have general consultations and basic ear examination, weight assessment, and mostly we just want to pick up chronic illnesses and amazingly then the visual inspection with acetic acid of the cervix to detect cervical cancer. And it's really just to not forget that there's all the other diseases that affect everybody and not just COVID. So this is just to highlight that and just remind the people that there's other things that we need to take care of, the chronic illnesses, diabetes, sugar, we shouldn't forget that. And also cervical cancer, and that's why that's mostly the chronic illness and cervical cancer screening. So that's what we have with the social workers that were able to also join the course today. So they'll offer counseling for psychological problems, emotional problems, and really any chronic illness.
Moses Garup's constituency councillor expressed gratitude to the Petwa Foundation, stressing the importance of health outreaches such as these.
We were supposed to have a prayer for the constituency, for the region, and for the country, also the neighboring country. But because of the regulation of COVID-19, 10 people could not make the prayer. But in our prayer, we had doctors who were supposed to join us. Because the doctors, they are ready, they are here today to continue what they should do. The screening, what they are going to do is very important, especially the pap smear, the blood pressure, the sugar. You know, many people, they don't know, and they don't even interest in pap smear because they don't know. But as from today, I know that they will always ask the pap smear because pap smear is very important. The person who's speaking, I've got an experience because I'm a cancer survivor, a breast cancer survivor. I got an experience, and I'm a volunteer for Cancer Association. I know that, especially the cervix cancer, which is here today, is very, very important for the community. And I hope they will also give the message to others. So next time when we are going to have our prayer, because we will have prayer, the doctor will still come in.
The foundation further plans to reach out to more marginalized communities of the country who do not have access to primary health care, further encouraging more healthcare professionals to come together and volunteer for the communities.
We plan on going out to the marginalized areas of Namibia. We actually got invited to go to, someone is going to sponsor us to go to Okongo constituency. So the next outreach is going to be there, hopefully sometime in September. They want it as soon as possible. We want to go to the San community in Okongo. It's mostly for the people that are not able to get to the care centers.
The Nutrition and Food Security Alliance of Namibia collaborated with the Elulo Permaculture Initiative and the Shack Dwellers Federation to train community members to lead participatory nutrition awareness workshops in all regions, with a particular emphasis on breastfeeding and healthy eating habits for immune system strengthening. Joseph Ilonga has more.
According to UNICEF, mothers who get coronavirus shortly before giving birth and begin breastfeeding, and those who become infected while breastfeeding, will produce immune factors or antibodies in their milk to protect their baby and enhance the baby's own immune responses. This means that continuing to breastfeed is the best way to fight the virus and protect your baby. Speaking to Today on One, Ben Schernick, the director of NAFSAN, said that the COVID-19 virus has not been found in breast milk, and all mothers who test positive for the virus are advised to continue breastfeeding while practicing good hygiene.
It's really important that we really breastfeed 6 months exclusively. That means nothing else but breast milk for the first 6 months of a baby's life, and then to ideally continue for about 2 years. The only thing maybe that breastfeeding women should know is to really make sure you have enough folic acids and iron, and also that you should continue breastfeeding even if you're tested positive, because COVID will not transmit to your baby's breast, and the baby gets your immune system through the breast milk. So that is strengthening the baby's immune system in the best way possible, is to really continue breastfeeding as long as you can. And to strengthen your immune system, there's a couple of things you can do. So what you can do is really to eat a variety of food, especially vegetables, fruits, drinking lots of water, exercises, going to the sun for getting your vitamin D. That is really crucial. The things you can avoid and actually save you money is to really reduce alcohol, either no or 1 drink a day. Sugar, to definitely reduce the sugar intake, less salt, less oil.
For many communities facing high levels of acute food insecurity, permaculture backyard gardening can offer ways for vulnerable communities to meet their daily food needs, especially for breastfeeding women. Donovan Wagner, the director of Elulo Permaculture Initiative, spoke about the urban gardening project, which handed over seeds, gardening tools, trees, and nutrition training materials to residents of Windhoek's informal settlements.
The purpose of the handover of tools and seeds and training material is really to take this project one step further and to upscale it into the other regions that the Shack Dweller Federation is active. So during this project we worked with 7 mentees, gardening mentees, and they are now sufficiently equipped to really go out there and work in their communities, but also go into these other communities throughout the country. And the tools and the seeds are obviously essential to create new gardens, and are very much part of taking out the message of NAFSAN, of food and nutrition security out there through our mentees that have been trained during this project.
According to experts, no foods or dietary supplements can prevent people from being infected with COVID-19. However, maintaining a healthy diet is still an important part of supporting a strong immune system, which the body needs to fight the virus. Shernick also mentioned that, according to research, nutrition deficiencies, especially for breastfeeding women, can impact the country's gross domestic product by up to 16% if children are stunted due to poor nutrition in the first 1,000 days of their life.
Why do we do it? Cover up, tone down, hide, instead of choosing boldness. Celebrate the skin you're in with Nivea Rich Nourishing. Our triple layered care of deep moisture serum, natural almond oil, and vitamin E enriches your skin for 48 hours. It's time to show off your best skin. Choose to wear your skin with pride every time with Nivea Rich Nourishing.
Joseph Hartman was in and out of prison, dealing and doing drugs. Then a drug deal went wrong. Joseph was robbed, handcuffed, and scared straight out of the business. For 6 months, he roamed the streets as a homeless addict. Then one night, in a baseball dugout, Joseph met a stranger who totally changed his life.
I stand in awe of the power of the God who's our creator. And Terry and I sit here on this program, and the Lord speaks to us, and it's the word of knowledge. It's one of the manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Something not always godly.
Not always, that's right. That's right. But there's a lot of negative voices out there, as we know.
Yes, there are.
And
so how do you know when it's God saying, Perry, I want to speak this to you right now?
And sometimes you don't know. And I think you pray over it and you think about it. And sometimes you just, a lot of times I'll just envision, as you and I are talking here today, I may envision that I'm here talking with God. And how am I supposed to address this issue?
Okay? Realize Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same for you right now. So let's pray. Let's call on his name and let him do the rest for you. Let's pray.
In other leading stories, the government of Namibia retained its status as a Tier 1 country in the 2021 Trafficking in Persons report for the second year in a row for prohibiting severe forms of trafficking in persons and punishing acts of trafficking. Namibia is again the only country in Africa to achieve a Tier 1 ranking, joining 28 countries globally. The TIP report, compiled by the U.S. Department of State, is the world's most comprehensive resource on governmental anti-trafficking efforts and reflects the U.S. government's commitment to global leadership on this key human rights issue. A country's tier ranking reflects the State Department's assessment of that government's efforts during the reporting period to meet the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking in persons established under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000. While Tier 1 is the highest ranking, it does not mean that a country has no human trafficking problem or that it is doing enough to address the problem. The report noted that human traffickers exploit domestic and foreign victims in Namibia, and traffickers exploit victims from Namibia abroad. The 2021 report noted that the Namibian government identified fewer victims and did not initiate any new prosecutions of alleged traffickers. The government identified 19 trafficking victims compared to 30 victims in the prior year's report. And Dundee Precious Metals Tsumeb concluded the substantive negotiations which have been ongoing for the past 6 months. The negotiation and procedural agreement entered into between DPM Tsumeb and the Mine Workers Union of Namibia directs both parties to meet and negotiate on substantive issues, including salary increases and benefits. Following these negotiations, the parties reached a 2-year agreement with a salary increase of 3% for 2021, taking effect from the 1st of July 2021, and a salary increase of 4% for 2022, taking effect from the 1st of March 2022. According to Vice President and Managing Director Zebra Kasete, this agreement covers the period of the 1st of July 2021 to the 28th of February 2023. He further expressed his appreciation to the negotiation teams for the maturity with which these very difficult negotiations were conducted. Kasete said the current situation in the world, and more so in the country, was taken into consideration during the process.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Let's cross over to Joseph Shifeni for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. Businesses in Namibia continue to be affected by the ongoing health crisis, with many having closed operations and some reducing their staff complement. However, last week, safety became a concern after threats were made of looting in Windhoek malls. The Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security and his counterpart, the Minister of Justice, engaged the business community in Windhoek on Friday. They assured the business owners that Namibia remains a safe country and that there will be no imitation of the chaos and violence that took place over the course of 2 weeks in South Africa that saw the destruction of businesses.
So how's the business? Very slow. No, but at least let's move as a nation. We are here as a security cluster to make sure you conduct your business without any worries. But please feel free, don't be scared. The situation, Namibians are very peaceful people. Yeah, so we just have to encourage, because there are those who have that habit of monkey see, monkey do syndrome. But we want to prevent that.
The first stop for the security cluster was Grove Mall in Kleine Cooper, where Albert Kawana said the government is having a tough job of balancing between easing restrictions and saving lives.
If you have any recommendations, please feel free as a business community to report and make some of those recommendations proposal to government. The government is open to hear. Yeah, the ears of the government is wide open just to hear your recommendations, your concerns, and how to address those concerns.
We will.
Yeah. So how many employees do you have here?
10.
10?
Yes.
So you are not going to retrench anybody?
No.
Ah, excellent. No. That's what I want to hear.
We are not going to retrench. We have other measures put into place to ensure that we can still keep our staff till the whole coronavirus things get settled, or where we know we are heading. So for now, we're not retrenching anyone. We don't have any plans of retrenching anyone.
I like that.
Yeah, but we have other measures in place just to make sure that we can still keep our people keep them having jobs, and make sure that we can still pay salaries and keep the shop operating as well. Yeah.
No, we want to encourage you to continue with that spirit.
Thank you, sir.
From the security cluster, we can assure you that Namibia will remain peaceful, will remain secure to everybody, including especially our business community.
Yvonne Tausap, the Justice Minister, asked about the measures that businesses implement when their staff contract the COVID-19 virus.
What measures do you have in place to ensure if somebody has tested positive for COVID, what steps do you take to either fumigate and provide support for your employees to ensure that their place is not the place of work is not dangerous or unhealthy? What steps are you taking to make sure that?
Well, the first step we have to take is close everything down, close the doors, fog the whole place, literally sanitize everything from A to Z, and then obviously evaluate all the affected employees that might have been here. Already we are literally on quarter of our staff per day. So we monitor for 3 to 5 days the people that might have been in contact with the positive case, and then after that we obviously take further steps and everything. But yeah, that's so far so good.
The operation later took to Karatura to observe compliance, where the Inspector General of Nampol expressed satisfaction with the notorious Evelyn Street in Greenville, noting that it had changed.
We are in Evelyn Street, and this is one of the notorious streets we have in Window. But you can see a degree of compliance, because all along when we started from the other end, we did not find many people congested here. It seems there is a degree of understanding, a degree of compliance with the regulation, and that is what everyone is expected to do.
By 8 p.m., vendors at the Stop and Shop market had already left for home, but not the same could be said for those near the Havana four-way, as the street was still buzzing with people. They were told to pack up as it was nearly curfew time. They were also encouraged to get vaccinated. That's all we have for you. Join us again next time, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Winter is here. Let's warm you up by giving you a chance to win one of 12 gas heaters and accessories, or a grand prize of 50,000 Namibian dollars. To enter the Winter Warmers competition, simply buy any combination of 2 or more of the following participating brands: Baker's, Five Roses, Fresh Pack, Frisco, or Hug in a Mug, and SMS Winter to 445. And remember to keep your till slip as proof of purchase. Promotions run from the 1st of May to the 31st of July. For more information and entry details, visit 99fm.com.na. T's and C's apply.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. The Namibian police force says that it arrested and will interrogate 2 individuals for spreading information on threats of looting and riots similar to the unrests in neighboring South Africa. The Inspector General Sebastian de Tunga also confirmed that he has activated the security machinery to be on standby. Peter says threats should not be taken lightly, no matter how funny or entertaining, noting that such behavior should not be tolerated. Tulonga agrees that threats should not be taken lightly, commending Nampol for a job well done. Someone noted that if the police did not take the threat seriously and something has happened, people would have complained that the police knew about it but did nothing to stop it. Hastings commended Nampol, noting that this will send a strong message to all social media users in the country. G. Nepembe says that's how he knows the Inspector General. He does not entertain such threats. Gerson says they can be charged for inciting public violence. While Elrona commended the Inspector General for a job well done. He noted that we cannot jeopardize our peace, adding that people should know how to joke about certain things. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on 1.
My name is Ephraim. I say no to gender-based violence. Do you?
We can't wait to be together again and play until the sun comes up. But until then, let's stay safe.
Time now for today's sports update with Castro Ulumbu.
Welcome to a new week of Sports on One. I am your host, Castro Ulumbu. After successfully defending their Indoor Africa Cup in Durban, South Africa, the MTC Senior Women's National Indoor Hockey Team have now qualified to participate once more at the Indoor World Cup, which is slated to take place in Belgium from the 3rd to the 7th of February 2022. As a form of appreciation for their recent achievement, Hockey Namibia's main sponsor MTC awarded the team with brand new iPhone X devices. Today on One Sports Desk has more on this story. Head coach Erwin Handura expressed appreciation towards the sponsorship from MTC, stating that monetary assistance is the most important in sports. Coach Handura also noted that the team's main focus is now bettering their results at the Indoor World Cup.
Going forward, as you know, we've qualified for the Indoor World Cup, which will take place from the 2nd to the 6th of February in Liège, in Belgium. But that would have never been possible as our main sponsor is MTC, our main partner, MTC. So sometimes as a team when you play, you do well, you qualify, and then everybody's in the media, but then they forget about we actually help you to get there. And in sports, in particular in Namibia, government alone cannot foot the bill. So as a result, we as a hockey, we are very fortunate to have MTC as a partner over the next 3 years. And that's why we thought it wise that, hey, this gold medal and the trophy we've won is due to MTC. So we must bring it and present it to them and give it to them and stay here for 2 or 3 months so that everybody can really see that, hey, this is true partnership. Monetary support is basically one of the most important support when it comes to athletes and officials and footing the bills. I mean, when you have to fly to go to another country like now, we're embarking on an expensive venture again to go to the Indoor World Cup. So now this time around, we are going for the top honors. We are not going, last time we aimed to finish in the top 8. We finished 9th. But now we want to go out there and really try to finish in the top 3. This can be done. The whole time now we've been busy studying our opponents, the statistics. If you look at a team like Ukraine that we beat at the World Cup, we beat them 3-2. They finished 4th. So it tells you this can be done.
Handing over the team's brand new accessories at MTC's headquarters, Chief Human Capital and Corporate Affairs Officer T. Mekanjo applauded the ladies hockey team for creating history by defending their African title.
The ladies did us very, very proud. Qualifying #1 in Africa, qualifying for the World Cup. Where do we hear of teams qualifying for the World Cup except rugby after every 4 years? Maybe boxing here and there, going for a world title, but this is significant. And I think just after you guys came back, everybody started talking about hockey. Even in Lutheran, there were people who didn't play hockey. Started talking about hockey. So I think it is when we create role models for sports, this is this sort of significance in terms of its power. And we'd like to thank the ladies team, national team, for bringing us gold, for bringing us the African Cup, for being #1 on the continent, and for going to the World Cup. We are certainly going to keep this here.
Yeah.
We will give it back to you once you bring back the World Cup, and then we can swap. We wish you all the best for the preparations, and as a token of our appreciation, I know you guys are 18 in a team, the coaching staff with iPhones, brand new iPhones. So coach,
yes,
it's 18, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
On behalf of the MTC Senior Women's Hockey Team, Captain Margaret Mengo welcomed the gesture from MTC and is optimistic that they will compete and not participate in the Indoor World Cup next year.
To us as players, it really means a lot. It uplifts such a big weight from our shoulders to worry about the finances and to be able to have a proper gear to play with, because I think that is also one of the important elements that people don't consider. I mean, if we're comfortable in our skins, all that's left on us is to perform and to really make the country proud. We are African champions, and now we're going to connect with the rest of the world at the World Cup. So we're really grateful for your support and for believing in us as players and for really working the journey with us, because this is quite something that we're passionate about and that we really want to go out there and perform at the World Cup, at the world stage. I mean, we've proven it in the previous World Cup. And we're going to do much better when we are, because right now we're ranked #9 in the world, and we want to really improve in that and have a better ranking when we come back. If not, like Coach said, top 3. It's not easy, but I believe we can do it.
The ladies will be the only African representatives at the World Cup.
And that is all we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Isai.
Thank you, Castro, for the latest in sports. Time now for the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Cold conditions are expected to set in the south tomorrow, becoming very cold in the south, central and eastern regions with frost on Wednesday and Thursday. Cold Arctic air is expected to migrate northwards by Friday. Small stock and crop farmers are advised to take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and cold to mild in the Karas region, with the rain in the extreme southwest. Elsewhere partly cloudy and mild to warm. Windy weather is expected in the south. The coast partly cloudy and mild to warm. Light rain is expected in the extreme southern coastal areas. The wind fresh to strong southerly to southwesterly.
We have come to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. Catch a repeat tonight at 9:30 and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future. A hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Win free airtime with hashtag #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. Hashtag #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
I am a busy night.
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them and it must be respected. You are not feeding the rhinos, you are not giving them order, so it's a free business. I take two of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old. They were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future.
My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palamba. So I decided to go for tour guide studies. Because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest change is I was employed, I'm getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Treverfontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities and wildlife, is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time.
We are right here now at Palamba, and Palamba is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see, there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the Northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife, and having wildlife in your area is like having a garden.
Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife, and it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit.
So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do.
If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job.
We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, say the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poached. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now it's our chance to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for the rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bars was made, and I think it was 31st of January that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I picked up my phone and I told Mark Doe. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but we've got the fund already ready for you. You just have to apply, put a proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed. And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds to pay salaries to help people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs. And we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO. And IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, integrated rural development and nature conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities and various aspects of their war on poaching.
to be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2 Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's working on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Itindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side we've got the serial number, you've got the Rand refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution. And at Ballowwood, we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight. It's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcase really what the project is all about.
It's from 24 karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward, and who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have. It's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, We could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely, something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.
Just believe in me.